We are live, everybody. Welcome back to the Pull Hook Golf Podcast. We've got a dandy for you. We've got a brand new platform that we're working on here tonight as well. So, yeah, this should be interesting. I don't know where the comments are going to show up or anything like that. This will be a whole new setup for us as we are switching over to a new platform. So, really excited about that. And Brent decided that he's just going to leave. He's done. He's out. As he just takes off, he's like, I had the main spot there, and now I'm gone.
I love how he's sitting outside like it's nice out.
It is 116 degrees outside. This man is tempting. He looks like it is a furnace. Oh, man.
Just lighting a cigar. It's 110 out.
Oh, it's brutal.
20 degrees.
It's absolutely brutal. But you know, that's what we deal with Brent. You never know what you're gonna get.
That's facts.
Like
that's fucking facts. That's facts.
All right. Stop. Well, we're kind of back to our little. Give it a couple minutes. Let everybody join in, and then from there we will go ahead and get started. I'm trying to see where the count is. You know, on the other one, we had the full count of, I could see how many audience members there were.
There's the chat. So,
oh, here we go. Here we go. Now I'm seeing it. Ooh, look at that, guys. Trot Golfer, good evening. Pull Hookers. We've got JBTN, hello gang. We got BG, which is Brent Grant right there, who decided that he's going to say a little something to everybody. Sweet. So that's where the comments are going to show up for me. So I at least have those now. I've got that down. I'm going to make sure that we stay on top of that throughout tonight's episode. But again, got a brand new platform. But without further ado, let me see one last thing if I can. If I can find one last thing here on ours before we get started, everybody.
What's a nice day off today, buddy?
Day off? What are you talking about? No such thing, man.
All packed up and ready to go?
No.
No. Me neither.
That will occur upon cessation of the pod tonight.
Me too. Today
Trying to
was
see if I can
spend the time with the mom day.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, played a little Monopoly with the family. It's kind of good.
Monopoly's fun.
Dude.
I love
Monopoly.
That's a game of strategy and manhood.
Total domination.
So yeah, once again, everybody, we are on a brand new platform tonight for our recording software, that is. So we are stepping up our game yet again. So we're just learning this new platform, and I'm excited to get going. You guys ready to get going here?
Let's roll it.
Let's do it. Let's absolutely do it.
Rolling, huh? Rolling.
They rolling on them.
All right, in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back, everybody, to Pull Hook Golf, the podcast. I'm your host, Matt Cook. Tonight, we've got our co-host, Botsy, with us. We've also got our tour insider and Mr. Brent Grant, and we got a great show for all of you. We've got the episode all about JJ Spaun, the U.S. Open recap. Good old LIV Golf, how did they do within the whole U.S. Open? Did they meet expectations? And then we've got the upcoming Travelers Championship that is coming up this weekend, as well as a new PGA Tour CEO that is taking over for Jay Monahan. So we're going to talk about all of this good stuff as we go along here tonight. But before we dive in, we do want to give a shout out to our sponsors. First off, Devro Golf, folks. Utilize the promo code PULLHOOKGOLF20 for 20% off your entire order at devrogolf.com. I've got the shirt on right now. This is the retro shirt. Butsy's got the hat on. And man,
I got a good shirt on, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Look at this. Butsy's got it. Look at that. Valley Golf Club. That's fantastic stuff there. Beautiful. Love that for you and Brent. So here we go, folks. We've also got on the docket Vice Golf as a sponsor of the Pull Hook Golf podcast. Utilize the promo code PULLHOOK at checkout. You will get 15% off your golf ball orders. That's what's right here next to me, and next to me over here, vicegolf.com. 15% off utilizing promo code PULLHOOK. Lastly, we have Rockform, a brand new sponsor. And Brent Grant knows these guys well. He's got the case on his phone right there. But utilize the promo code PULLHOOK 2025 for 20% off your entire order at Rockform. That's ROKFORM.com. We're going to be doing quite a bit of stuff with them here in the near future. So make sure to grab yourself some speakers, get yourself some cases for your phone. They've got a great golf stand that I know I'm going to be utilizing.
Oh,
And Trot Golfer just said that, he's got, he says they're the best speaker in the game. We absolutely love that.
Absolutely are.
Also want to mention as well that my 5 a.m. comeback is starting on June 30th. Going to be starting to put out a bunch of content. I'm going this weekend to LA. We're going to start the entire protocol and program with Stark Health, which really we've got doctors, we've got chiropractors, physical or personal trainers, we've got doctors, nutritionists, the whole 9 yards. So I am going to do this as a 5 a.m. comeback. More details to come around all of that, but I'm really excited about the journey and the process and just showing people what can be done, because I think in a lot of ways it's going to be proving to myself what can actually be done. So yeah, without further ado, let's get right into our segments tonight. And guys, JJ Spaun wins the US Open, and this guy is the epitome of golf. As I'm talking a little bit about my story, JJ Spaun has an incredible background and story to his game and everything that he's been through. Let's go over some of the stories real quick in regards to JJ Spaun. So this guy is a guy who almost quit multiple times. So in 2020, he lost his PGA Tour card, dropped down to the official World Golf Rankings number of 584, clawed his way back through the Korn Ferry Tour, and got into Korn Ferry Tour finals. He was second in Boise, and he said that was the reset he needed. And 8 months later, he had a tour victory, which we'll get into in a second. But he almost quit the game again last year, as he was about to lose his PGA Tour card yet again, and he was just like, I'm done with this thing. But he said his motivation was watching this movie Wimbledon about a journeyman tennis player, and that sparked something inside of him that kept him going. Ended up playing great towards the end of the year, keeping his card, and obviously we see what he's been able to do this year. Butsy, I know you're a big fan of this guy. You've picked him on numerous occasions this year.
Yeah, I got the chance to get out and play a fun round of golf with him a couple years back, and you don't get the feeling or the sensation that he's not a classic tour player. He's like I don't know. It was like playing golf with a professional skateboarder. If I had to say anything about the guy, he didn't have that prestige or pedigree or how a lot of those guys carry themselves. From what I've found playing with a lot of them, he was just a cool dude. Very impressive. He didn't have a great day the day that we played, but obviously you could see his iron game is unbelievable. So, yeah, I just became a fan, and the rest is history.
That is awesome. It's funny too, because as you talked about him as a skateboarder, he actually is a skateboarder. That was one of the things I came to find out. Yeah, so that was pretty cool to see that. Yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head with that one. I knew you didn't really necessarily know that before saying it, but
That
yeah,
makes sense.
yeah, that's pretty cool. That you had that experience with him. Now, he also, by the way, this is kind of crazy. Talk about an everyday kind of human being, let alone golfer. He was misdiagnosed with diabetes and he had a 50-pound weight swing from 2018 to 2021. Kept losing weight and he kept losing form as he was told that he had type 2 diabetes. Come to find out, a specialist later on discovered that he was late onset type 1, which required a completely different insulin regimen. And he finally got that under control. They even talked about it a little bit during the broadcast about how he was able to finally get his diabetes under control. And that's ultimately what led to his win back in 2022 at the Valero Texas Open. But I mean,
Wow.
yeah, it's like some of the stuff that you read about with JJ Spaun. And did he not just seem like the coolest dude ever in the interviews afterwards? Like so chill, like he had almost like he had not won the US Open.
Just thankful, man. I think that's a person who's thankful, like just really, really thankful to be in that spot. And I mean, my God, dude, like you're gonna hang him up, and next thing you know, a 65 footer goes in after you shoot. What do you shoot? 40 on the front?
He shot 4 over on the front.
Just crazy. It's awesome.
That is nuts. And we'll get into his round at the PG or at the US Open in a little bit. But I do want to talk about a couple other things about him. So he's a proud Filipino Mexican that comes from San Dimas, California. He flies both the Mexican and Philippine flags on his yardage book and credits his mom's side for early golfing inspiration. His Oakmont win sparked huge buzz in the Filipino, American, and Latino communities. So pretty crazy with everything that we're dealing with throughout the country right now. For him to go on and win is pretty nuts. And then we've got, the fact that his first pro paycheck came on the PGA Tour Canada, where he lived out of a rental car and won twice before getting onto the Corn Ferry Tour. Pretty nuts.
Fucking wild.
Yeah. Brent, I mean, you can somewhat relate here with the grind that it takes out there, going from the PGA Tour, having to go back to the Corn Ferry Tour, and just the stress and emotions that go along to it. I mean, talk to the audience about just how difficult of a process that is to be at the highest level and then all of a sudden have to go back and grind.
Yeah, I mean, look at the guy's history. I mean, he turns pro, I think in like 16 or 17 or something like that, 2016 or 17. Has that year or two on the Canadian tour, and obviously that entails any number of financial hardships. It sounds like he's kind of had to do it pretty much on his own his whole career, which gives me, which gives him even more respectability and credibility. And then he makes it onto the Corn Ferry Tour, kind of goes back and forth for a little while, and then gets onto the PGA Tour and kind of does the same thing before he kind of finds what a healthy place to be, both physically, mentally. Obviously, I'm sure his family are a huge portion of that. He talks about them all the time, and it's clear that he's got a solid foundation. His game has gotten steadily better over the years. And one thing that people need to realize is that just winning a PGA Tour event ever in your lifetime as a golfer is something that how do I put
Wild.
this? Yeah, I mean it's the numbers are just astronomical. It's crazy how hard it is, but to do it and then feel like, well, maybe this isn't for me, and then to come back, late in the year, in 23, 20, into 24, and then catch fire, and he's done what he's done this year, and the fact that he won the U.S. Open, the way he won it at Oakmont, playing it's probably the most difficult it will ever play, and he did it just with with pure tenacity, and more power to him. It just proves that you definitely don't have to be a long hitter to win a U.S. Open. He was probably one of the shortest hitters in the field, statistically, and the way he did it. I told, as soon as it happened, Butsy shot me a text. I was on the road. He said, "Did you see it?" I said, "No," and I was just scrolling through the U.S. Open app, and I was able to watch it. I probably watched it a dozen times. I think it's the greatest putt to ever cap off a major that there has ever been. I mean, there's 64 and a half feet at Oakmont in the
Raining.
rain. I mean, what are we talking about here? I mean, unbelievable stuff. Um, but yeah, I mean, couldn't happen to. I mean, truly, we say this all the time, but he really is a good dude, and I'm super happy for him. Laser super happy for him, obviously. But yeah, I mean,
Could
it's
you say
awesome.
Laser's happy for him as
Laser's
well?
super
Yeah,
happy
it
for him. Yeah,
seems like you're coming in a little low right now, Brent.
a little low,
Yeah, your mic is a little
Yeah.
under.
a little under. It's right
Can
next
we
to my
agree that
face.
JJ Spaun closely mirrors Michael Pena?
He sure does. He sure does.
1 second.
Okay.
Yeah, it just seems like your audio is a little low, Brent. Normally it's loud, you know?
His mic might be melted because he's outside.
Yeah, I don't know. He might have turned down the gain somehow. Let's see. Let's see if this will fix it. He's clipping it onto his shirt, everybody.
Can you turn it up on your end, Maddie?
I can't. So I was checking that.
How's that?
About
A
the
little
same.
better? About the same. I really don't know what's going on here.
It's not
I
terrible.
wonder
It's just a little light.
Yeah, it's a little low. If you just want to yell.
Yeah, I mean, I've got it. The output volume. Yeah, it's as high as it can be. So that's really odd.
No, I think
All right.
I think it's the gain on your mic. I'll show you next time we're at Grass Clippings. We will. I'll show you how to get that.
Okay.
Up,
But it
updated.
wasn't that way before. So I guess.
No, I know, but you've been messing around with it with the app and everything, so you might have changed some settings there.
All right.
Don't know. Don't know. It's a brand new platform, right? So we shall see. We're still learning on this new platform. So again, we're excited about the changes and everything going on. Back to JJ Spaun.
Yeah.
So this is a guy who was not unused to screwing up in the beginning of a round, trying to win, and coming back and winning, because that was his only win on the PGA Tour, was the 2022 Valero Texas Open, in which he started that round, that final round, with a double bogey, and then played the next 17 holes 5 under par to edge Matt Kuchar and Matt Jones. And so obviously this year survived a +4 through 6 holes, and then played the back 9 in 3 under after that 90-minute rain delay reset. Guys, we got to talk about this, man, because that reset, did you guys get a sense that it was a bit unfair coming back out? Like, you know, Sam Burns didn't get casual water, and that looked pretty bad. I mean, Adam Scott ended up hitting some really wayward iron shots, which was kind of unlike him. So I'll start with you, Butsy. I mean, was it fair for them to be playing in those conditions? Obviously, everybody's got to play in them.
Yeah, I mean, you just said it. Like, that'd be my reply to that, is everybody's got to play in the conditions. You know what you're getting yourself into. Some people are going to have better luck than others. The Burns one was a little sus. I mean, I saw the guy, he was standing there slushing his feet around, and he definitely got standing water, but was that next to where his ball or stance was? Because, I mean, I know the rule, and you have to bring up, like, visible water where you're standing or where the ball is, right? Is that the rule?
Yeah, that's
So,
Go ahead, Brent. What were you gonna say?
So it has to be visible. You can't. So even if you step there, and water comes up, if it goes back down, and
right.
it's not visible, like you said, there is no relief. Now, I'll be honest with you. I mean, we've seen, we've seen ridiculous things on camera with with rules and all that other stuff, and where they've been able to see the golf ball in slow motion. And you're telling me that the rules official right there couldn't see the water? Any other time, any other place, I think they probably get relief there.
It's
I
like
mean, wouldn't you give
baseball.
the guy the benefit of the doubt?
I mean, let me see. I don't know. I'm going to pull
This
it up on.
again, the video that you see, I can't tell if that's like where his ball is or if that's just in the general area of the ball. And like Brent said, I mean, you can't press down and
No.
like try to get water to come up. Like you have to just take a stance and it has to be standing there.
Yeah.
Um, so it's kind of a tough call. It's like a baseball umpire. Like it's just right there's a gray area for all of them for a lot of the rules of golf, and you kind of got to deal with whoever you're calling in to do that. I mean, I guess you could play two balls and ask for
No,
another. I don't know. Can you ask for another official to come in? Can you get a
you
second opinion?
can. You can, and I think he did. But the major issue here, I think, from what I'm seeing is that it was not, it was going back down, and so the big problem with that is any time you're in that mode, especially if it's even close, right? And these guys are used to getting their way, right? So the majority of these rules are, well, if you think that it's in your way, then it's in your way. The problem is this is the USGA, this is the US Open, this is the final round. These guys were not about to get into any gray area. These guys are as black and white as it gets. But boy, it's tough. It's really tough. I mean, I don't think there's a moment where any of us would have looked at that in any other golf round and been like,
And
"No, man, play it."
and here's the other thing too. Like if he hits the shot and it goes in the hole or it goes to a foot,
Correct.
are we having this conversation?
That's the other thing. I mean, was it a pitch wedge? No, it was a full swing iron. I mean, you could hit. We've seen guys play off cart path or out of mud, out of all kinds of different things. But again, right, the moment that you think, "Oh, I got screwed," is the moment that you're screwed. I mean, your mind is
Ain't
already
gonna work.
gone. And,
Yeah.
and I mean, we've seen that in every sport there is. Oh, I can't believe that happened, and then they blow up. I mean,
Yeah.
I
it's
think John
unfortunate.
McEnroe was the only one who sometimes didn't get affected by that.
Correct, yeah.
No, it turned him on.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
All
the
of a
only one that
sudden he
made him
started to
better.
focus and lock in. I feel
Yeah.
like that some of the guys that get really angry out there, like a Terrell Hatton, um, just get more locked in.
They do.
Like they've
Yeah.
learned to kind of hone that in and use that as their motivation or, to, like I said, get locked in. I don't know how else to phrase
Oh,
that.
100%. And he said as much. I remember I asked him at the Byron Nelson in 23, Hatton that is, and I said, "Hey, like, basically, I just was like, are you like okay out there?" He's like, "Yeah, man, I just honestly have to get it out. I have to, it's just who I am. I've accepted, I don't point it at anybody generally.
Be right
It's
back.
all in here." And it's why I believe, honestly, that uh, when the conditions are such that are as difficult as they are, in a British Open or a U.S. Open, guys like that are real and can kind of battle with the waves, if you will, are the guys that play the best. And I mean, you got JJ Spaun, who's cool, calm, and collected, and you got Tyrrell Hatton out there, who's as you know crazy as it gets, and yet they were both there at the end. So pretty incredible. I mean, Tyrrell's reaction when JJ won when he made that putt, he was elated. He was like, "Wow, that's unbelievable." So happy for him.
He said,
Yeah,
"Fair enough. Fair
Austin
play."
makes a pretty good point that
Yeah,
Burns was
yeah, there
already
you go.
leaking some major oil
Yeah.
by that point. I mean, him and Adam Scott they were not playing the greatest. I mean, those guys were struggling out there. I feel like Adam Scott actually got a little bit more screwed by the water than anybody, in my opinion, where you just started seeing shots that he normally wouldn't spray.
Yeah.
And that was the water and just not making the adjustments that you have to in
They
those
were
conditions.
playing it down.
Yeah.
Okay. See, so this is something that prior to the day, they're going to sit there and go, well, we know this storm is coming at 4 o'clock, so we're going to play the ball up. The big problem with that is, and we discussed this, I think we said it actually at Grass Clippings last week. We were like, what are they going to do, and so on and so forth. And honestly, the USGA showed their true colors. They were like, nope, we believe in as pure of a form of golf as possible, no matter the conditions. And you're not wiping the golf ball. Sorry.
Yeah, you might get screwed.
And there are guys, I mean, hell, you get one droplet of water between the face of a driver or a wood or an iron or anything like that at any sort of speed, it's game over. It's game over.
You're not wrong. And I think certain guys like actually know how to play in those conditions.
Yeah.
And that was something that we kind of saw with Bobby McIntyre. Butsy, you're the one that during the preview show brought up Bobby Mack as a potential contender. And so that was pretty cool to see him almost slide in the back door. I mean, he was playing so well on that back nine.
Oh, yeah.
And that final stretch of holes. It was an exciting US Open at the end of the day with everything going down. And I was just like, holy shit. Like, we've got ourselves an Open, and it started creeping into where like the plus fours had a chance, where all of a sudden we're talking about Rahm being in the clubhouse at plus 4. Then Scheffler gets in at plus 4. And all of a sudden, but we do have to talk about Scotty Scheffler a little bit. I mean, we've been on his you-know-what for a couple of weeks now. And I mentioned this during the show, and I don't know if this resonated with either of you in regards to that. I wanted to see him struggle a little bit on Thursday and then make a run, right, to get back into it. And what I feared in saying that is the fact that once he started struggling, he never really got back. And I feel like, did you guys see the range session with him and his coach?
Yep.
No.
Paul, he was screaming at him.
Yeah. Yeah, it was tough. It was
screaming at him?
Oh, yeah. He was
screaming at him. So
yeah,
you got to see the competitive side of Scotty Scheffler there with his coach on the range, screaming at him, disgusted with his control and accuracy and so forth. So, like I said, guys, if you're not practicing that mental side, which, by the way, guess who was practicing the mental side and actually brought it up in his interview was Bobby Mack. Bobby Mack was talking about how after Thursday, I believe it was Thursday's round, he got on the phone with the sports psychologist that he works with, and he said that he absolutely just needed a reset mentally so that he could lock in and just realize that this is going to be tough. This is going to be a difficult time, and to be very patient with everything out there. And that's the thing that I don't know if Scotty Scheffler has necessarily, like, as we've seen so much success out of Scotty Scheffler, we've not seen him play well in a U.S. Open yet. Like, I would not say that this was Scotty Scheffler playing well in a U.S. Open. What do you guys think?
No.
I mean,
decent.
I mean, he played well. I mean, as much as you can in this sort of situation, but I don't think that this. It's exactly right, and I mean, you look at the list of U.S. Open winners that kind of win and then they disappear, or they kind of come out of nowhere and then disappear. The U.S. Open, along with the British Open, are not the same type of golf that we're used to week in and week out on the PGA Tour. That's not to say that tough conditions, that Scotty can't play well in tough conditions, but we haven't really seen that. We've seen him play well when the golf course is playing difficult, but not when he's not playing well and the golf course is playing difficult. So, I mean, you think about how many times Tiger said, I beat the living crap out of all these guys with my C game. Scotty Scheffler, I don't think his C game is good enough necessarily to do what he's been doing with his A game.
To me, it was like the precision that he brings to the table, or that shines on like a lot of golf courses and setups, just wasn't what was, I don't know. Like wasn't there. It wasn't required there, if that even makes sense.
Yeah.
It's just a different type of golf, like you said, like especially when it got wet. I
Yeah.
don't know. Like
And-
there's no premium for you know, getting 9-iron into the wind right to a back right flag. It was more like grit, all
Yeah.
grit.
And it's those small, it's as big as the greens were, right? It's not as if, I mean, that's why JJ's putt was just absolutely outrageous. I mean, to basically come from another zip code, you know, and I mean, a completely different terrain. But most of the places that we've seen Scotty play really well at are the ones where the golf hole, you know, generally has some sort of movement to it, but it's all towards, you know, the pin locations. And I mean, he's won the same type of tournaments, you know, throughout the last 2-3 years. And I don't think, I mean, he didn't play well last year at Pinehurst, and he didn't play well this week either. So, yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens in his career. Obviously, he's still world number one, and nobody's going to take him down anytime soon. So
It's so
we'll see what
funny
happens.
though. We're like, we're finding chinks in the armor because the guy fucking just didn't keep winning every time.
Exactly.
Well, it wasn't impressive, right? I
No,
mean, it wasn't like
It wasn't.
he grinded. I mean, he ended up finishing +4 in the top 10, but he was basically there all weekend long. Like, he just didn't really have something for that golf course. But
Correct.
it also goes to his greatness, right? That he's at a point now to where the expectations are very high, and we expect him to play really well heading in to a tournament like this, especially after winning a couple events coming into it, including the PGA Championship, the Memorial. So it's not like he can't play a difficult golf course. I just feel like, man, I saw that on Thursday. I saw him kind of lose his cool, and then it carried over to the driving range. And to me, that's not when Scotty Scheffler is his best, right? When he
you're right.
is frustrated, impatient. Scotty Scheffler is known as being one of the most patient players out there. And I think he lost his cool a little bit. I would just love to see him work on that side of it, because I want Scotty Scheffler to be the greatest ever, right? I mean, I want to see somebody right now be better than anybody that's ever existed. That would be fantastic. But obviously, there's a little bit work there. We found a chink
still
in
young.
the armor, so to speak, that he needs to put forward. But I do want to go back to JJ Spaun really quick, because Max Homa actually passed something along to him that Tiger Woods shared with him, that he said he relayed in his head all Sunday at Oakmont. These were Tiger's words. As long as you're still there, you don't have to do anything crazy, especially at a U.S. Open. Even if you're 4 back, just stay there. Let the others make mistakes. Pretty good advice from Tiger, even though JJ Spaun shot 3 under on the back 9 at the U.S. Open with that 64-footer on 18. It just looked like it was meant to be. After
And the shot on
driving,
17.
I think the shot on 17 to
That
me
sealed it. Yeah.
was the biggest shot of the tournament. I mean,
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. To 12 feet, 15 feet from 300 yards.
yeah, it was absolutely crazy.
Only he could have hit that shot at that time. If it were a longer hitter, I mean, you're talking about it's right in between a driver and a 3-wood for a lot of guys. I mean, I see that all the time and we saw it all the time between the Korn Ferry Tour and the PGA Tour. I mean, there are certain times when hitting it shorter just happens to pay off, and that was one of those times.
You know, it's funny too. So during that rain delay, they obviously played Tiger Woods from the Torrey Pines U.S. Open, where he won it on the broken leg. One of the most epic kind of finishing moments, to where he needed to make the putt in order to tie Rocco Medier. Everybody's tweeting about it as if it was happening right then. So funny enough, and Butsy knows this because, and actually, Brent, you've met my wife as well. She's up here in the pictures, but she has just gotten into golf, right? And she probably played less than a handful of times on a golf course. Butsy and I went out there with her and Butsy's girlfriend, Rachel. And sure enough, we were out there. And when that rain delay happened, she's been really getting into golf. She's like, she didn't know that there was a rain delay. She missed that little portion on the TV that said you are now watching the 2018 or the 2008 US Open. And so it's coming down to the end. And I can see that she's like, oh my God, I can't believe you didn't tell me Tiger was playing in the US Open and that he's about to, oh my gosh, like what he's one shot back. And I'm like, yeah, he's got to make this putt in order to tie Rocco Mediate. So sure enough, he makes that putt and she lost it. She went berserk like it was the first time ever experiencing a Tiger Woods US Open moment. And I just laughed my absolute ass off. But then I thought about it. I'm like, all right, could that have been a little bit cruel? Maybe. But realistically, she got to experience that moment later on in life when, like, as if it just happened. And then I'm like, honey, didn't you realize, like, he looks a little young? She goes, man, I was thinking that. She's like, he must have had some work done and so forth. So it was a pretty funny moment, pretty surreal around that. So I just had to share that with you guys. It was pretty good.
How incredible
I just
is
saw
that?
the opportunity and took it and was hoping to God she didn't see in the bottom corner.
I mean,
You are now watching the 2008 US Open.
but how incredible is that, right? I mean, think about how important that moment was for the entire golf world. Barring, obviously, what happened, you know, a year or two later, whatever. But at that moment, we saw what true grit and just absolute will looked like. I mean, there is, anytime they zoom into what happens, and I'm sure, I mean, I don't know, I'm assuming you guys have played Torrey South. I've played it
I have
a few times, and I played it in the tournament twice. That putt on those greens in the middle of the summer, by the way, you might as well be putting on gravel. And so
bouncy.
for it to happen the way that it happened, I mean, I was 12. And
I'm going to go back to Austin's comment too here because he could will the ball into the hole.
Greatest,
And that's the funny thing. Before he hit that putt, my wife's going, oh, he's going to make it. Like, that's not that far for Tiger. She's like, he'll make it.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden when he did, she lost her mind.
Way too many times.
Yeah, we all watched that live, I'm sure. And I remember, like, that was when I had just started playing golf. And I was like, oh, we're doing that. Like, that is awesome.
He definitely brought a lot of people to the sport. That is
Absolutely,
for sure.
without a doubt.
Let's see what else here for the U.S. Open that we can cover. Let's go down the leaderboard real quick. So JJ Spaun wins it at 1 under. I believe, Brant, you were the one that called the finishing total, so 1 under par. I said it was going to be 1 over, and Butsy, I don't remember what you said.
No,
3 under.
Yeah, we all. I said 6.
Oh, you said 6 under?
Yeah, I said
okay,
6, yeah.
so I guess
Looks good after the first day.
yeah. Bobby McIntyre finishes second at +1. Victor Hovland +2. Cameron Young, Terrell Hatton, and Carlos Ortiz +3. Sam Burns, John Rahm, Scotty Scheffler +4. Ben Griffin, Russell Henley +5. And then you got Christian Bezuidenhout, Chris Kirk, Brooks Koepka, Thriston Lawrence, Rasmus Niergaard, Peterson, Xander Schauffele, Adam Scott, all at +6.
Shut up.
And that pretty much wraps it up around the U.S. Open this year. But let's get to LIV Golf and the performance by LIV Golf this year. To you guys, did LIV Golf live up to expectations this year?
They played good in the Open. They had some good turnout, I thought. What do you mean? Like, in totality?
Just in totality. So, I mean, as the, premier circuit, as they would like to be known as, and having all the big names and so forth. I mean, we kind of saw, so Terrell Hatton, which Trot Golfer was the one on last week's episode that said Terrell Hatton had the best chance to win the U.S. Open out of all the LIV Golf guys. Carlos Ortiz was a huge surprise. I mean, that one, gamer, I didn't see that coming.
He's a gamer. I don't know, Butsy. What do you think?
Hang on.
I mean, and then John Rahm finished up there. Brooks
Played
Koepka
fine.
finished up there. After the first day, I'm going, Brooks Koepka is going to be tough to beat. But
Yeah.
there is something to be said when you're making a couple changes that it might work the first round, but carrying that over for 4 straight days is going to be tough.
They played like, how do I put this? Like there's still a few guys over there that are definitely world class players that have a chance to win still. That's what I would say.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? Every single one of these conversations kind of always ends up that way, right? It's like, how do we really discount, the 4 or 5 guys that are still competing at a high level? I mean, Tyrrell, I mean, he won the European Tour event. I think it was late last year or early this year. Obviously, most of those guys are playing in the U.S. Open either because they qualified or because they played well enough in the
Keep hearing
European
the door
Tour
open. Close.
to qualify for it. So almost all of the guys that, aside from I believe John and Brooks, all got there because they played well. And so, I mean, you can't take that away from them. Obviously, 85 to 90% of the players on the LIV Tour are non-existent now. But yeah, I mean, I obviously wouldn't call them top players by any means, but that's a select few.
Hey Maddie, real
So,
quick,
Yeah.
can I, if I scroll, I'm on my phone. If I scroll up, can I like cut my feed for a second? Will that work? I have to reply to this little kind of an emergency work text here.
Go ahead, give it a shot.
All right, let me try it.
yeah, perfect.
Oh, yeah, there he is.
That's totally fine.
He's
It
gone.
just black it.
Yeah,
Yep.
but
You're
uh,
good.
but yeah, I don't know, Matt. I mean, what are you seeing from? Is there any sort of trend that you're seeing from these guys that are playing in these European Tour events that are kind of like? Because I'm not paying attention, and so I
Are you
assume.
talking about the live guys?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, these guys that are still trying to
I
stay as
mean,
relevant as
Joaquin Neiman
possible.
is the enigma, right? I mean,
Yeah.
this is the guy that's won 4 times out there. And yet he gets to the US Open after winning the last tournament, misses the cut. He's just, that's the one that live golf fans love to tie themselves to and be like, oh, he's the greatest golfer because he's young and he's playing well on live golf. But you get him into a deep field, you get him into a US Open, you get him into other majors, like he
Mhm.
just hasn't played well. And they were talking about that on the broadcast a bit as well. But then, I mean, like I said, the big surprise is Terrell Hatton actually wasn't a huge surprise. Trout was dead on with him. I feel like, yeah, in hindsight, you look back and you're like, Terrell Hatton's going to play okay in the majors because he's always mad. And
And
that
he always
levels the
has.
playing field. And
Yeah.
the U.S. Open's a great one for that. The Open Championship, watch out for Terrell Hatton as well. But seeing John Rahm, kind of reinvigorated, I think he's going to be a problem moving forward because I think he's kind of gotten to the point to where he can get his game in shape, knows how to do it while he's on live, and the mental side is there for him, and he's feeling more and more comfortable. So
He's still John Rahm.
yeah, he's still John Rahm at the end of the day, right? So he's and at a U.S. Open golf course, he's a big guy that can hack it out of the rough. And just John Rahm to me is going to be there moving forward in these championships. Brooks Koepka obviously started finding some type of form. I mean, I didn't realize you were telling me that the Srixon guys were telling you that he's looking really good and
Yeah.
everything. And I didn't realize that they were still tweaking on Monday, like tweaking his golf swing.
Yeah, I mean he does a lot of that. I mean, part of part of what happens when he's able to kind of get seen by the Strixon Tour guys, and then obviously have his coach there, obviously. But the greatest thing about playing a U.S. Open, honestly, is the fact that everything's taken care of for you. There's nothing about it, no place that you're staying. There's nothing that's happening during the week that's abnormal or inconvenient to the least, at the least, excuse me. And so for him to show up and play well, wasn't a huge surprise. He also was getting, I mean, to be honest, I mean, anytime he shows up at a golf tournament, everybody's all over him, which he loves. And so that only boosts his confidence even more.
Yeah, and Rom did call out Liv last week. Also, Whittington mentions that to where he was talking about how many top tens that he has, and the fact that if he was still on the PGA Tour, those would be top 30s.
Correct.
That the deeper the field, there's no way he would be in the top 10. So I love that out of Rom. I think we were talking about that a little bit last week as well. And then, Trot Golfers mentioning we'll get to the new CEO of the PGA Tour. We'll talk about that a little bit at the end of this episode. But overall, I would say LIV Golf from a performance standpoint, I was surprised. Yeah, I would say that it was actually a good outing for them. I don't think that the critics of LIV Golf will say the same because they probably will say that it was a failure and so forth, which so be it, because obviously they didn't have anybody win and they haven't had anybody win yet. So I guess the next question that is going to come up heading into the Open Championship, what happens if LIV Golf does not win a major? They've won a major their first 2 years. So Brooks Koepka with the Masters, I believe, if I'm not wrong. Wait a second. I feel like
No.
that was wrong.
Bryson won the U.S. Open.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bryson won the U.S. Open last year, but who won the year prior?
Brooks won the PGA.
That's right. Yep. So see,
What do you
I knew it
What
was
do you
Brooks.
mean? What
Wasn't the
happened?
Masters though?
Well,
all of a sudden, if all of a sudden LIV Golf goes 0 for 4, do they lose some of that? We've got all the big names, got the best golfers in the world. You really can't say that when you don't win a single major in a year, right?
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
I guess the real question is what's going to happen after this year. I don't think anybody knows that.
No, because everything is back in play now. So we do have a little comment here. After Butsy beating Pup, I hear
Sanctioned.
Liv made a phone call.
Sanctions.
So big time stuff happening out there at Papago, I've heard.
Yeah, the
Called
heat
it.
match, the
Called
death
it.
match, sanctioned matches. That's what we've been doing, and
Yep.
yeah, I got it done. It was very tough, and I did get a call from the Live Tour. They are working with the PGA Tour to work on an exemption under the table for me to play in the Hero World Challenge, and then based on how I play in that, I might have a contract. So we'll see.
I
Love
heard that it
for
doesn't
you.
even matter. I heard they want you so bad that they're willing to put 8 figures up there for you.
No, what we saw out there wasn't a match won by hitting good golf shots. It was a
They
match
don't care.
making birdies and pars, almost specifically with a lob wedge around the greens.
If they only film that, does it matter?
Let's move on.
Yeah, let's keep it moving. So we've got the upcoming Travelers Championship preview this week.
Oh, God.
And my gosh, folks, do we have a great tournament happening in
Okay.
Cromwell, Connecticut? Another signature series event, trying to get all the top players to show up. And it looks like this one, they're actually going to get that done. So Scotty Scheffler's going to be there. Rory's going to be there. Xander's going to be there. Morikawa, Cantlay, Oberg,
Who's Rory?
JT,
What guy?
Jordan
Who's Rory?
Spieth. I mean, over and over and over again. And we didn't really talk about Rory this week because
Whatever.
yeah,
Whatever.
I don't really have a whole lot of opinions. I think it's tough. Johnny Miller made a comeback this week.
Johnny Miller.
Some people really want to see Johnny Miller back, myself included, because when he was talking about Bryson DeChambeau and all these bombers of the golf ball, he was like, yeah. And Bryson was living in the rough this week. So he dropped some pretty funny comments out there, but he also mentioned with Rory McIlroy that after winning the Masters, that if you take your eye off of the ball, all of a sudden it's tough to get back that focus and lock back in. So he made that point, and that kind of goes back to what I was saying around senioritis, to where he's checked out a little bit, and it's tough to just turn it back on. But Brent made a good point that at the Open Championship, going back to Ireland, could spark him once again, and he did have a good final round.
He's the most talented candy ass in golf. Like, let's just call it what it is.
He didn't get good PR this week. That is for damn
Terrible. He's
sure.
a huge bitch.
He's an idiot.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
You
there.
when you're privileged like that from a young age, and you have expectations like that, and you don't learn how to treat them with like I don't know. I mean, I'm not him, but and I'm sorry to just interject here, but it really pissed me off to see some of the mannerisms and stuff. Like, dude, you could do this with so much more class, even if you're not having a good time. You could be a better role model and act like less of a 15-year-old that didn't get his way.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you're spot on there. I mean, anybody that has a core group around him of real people would absolutely get their head taken off. I mean, just speaking from experience, anytime I've ever done something like that, that has been seen or said something in the right company, I hear about it. And so, you know, the simple fact of the matter is that 19-year-old Rory would be disgusted with the way he is now. I mean, that guy, the kid growing up in Northern Ireland with yeah, I mean, he was privileged because he got to go play golf in many different places, but it wasn't like he grew up with a silver spoon. I mean, he had to grind. His parents had
No.
to grind. And it's disrespectful. And I mean, I can't imagine what Jim Nance is feeling, considering throughout the entire day on Sunday, all he did was talk about his humble beginnings, and then he wins the Masters, has this emotional thing, and then now he's being a little bitch about it. I'm sorry, but
Matt might have
it's
called it like weeks ago or like a week ago. Like he might just be fed up with the show, like the whole fucking minutia of the whole thing, and being on TV and being in the media and blah. It's not cool to him anymore. I think he's just done with it. Like kind of like yeah, I just don't really.
then don't get interviewed.
Paul
Well,
McGinley too did bring up that he thinks that there's something else that is going
Probably.
on with Rory, and that
could be.
it's he thinks it's golf related, but doesn't know exactly what. Potentially because him and Jay Monahan were buddies for a long time. Jay moving out, this new guy moving in. You think anything has to do with that?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't
I don't
say
know.
I wouldn't say they were buddies. I mean, when I was playing the Canadian Open in 23, and they announced that week on Tuesday that they were going to form a boilerplate agreement or an agreement to have an agreement, and everybody knew that they were throwing Rory under the bus because that entire year, prior to that and in 2022, he did nothing but trash LIV, say we're never going to do anything, we're never going to do this, we're never going to do that, screw those guys, and then he's got to stand up there with Jay and just be like, what are you guys doing? And then he had to kind of fall in line, and which he did, but for a guy like Rory that takes everything personal, there's absolutely no way that his relationship uh, is repairable with somebody like Jay after that. I mean, he took Charlie Hoffman's letter as an attack. I mean, really? Seriously? This is
He got a
ridiculous.
little defensive.
I
Got a
feel like
little
he's pointed at
defensive
me.
over it.
Like,
I got
So
to.
the other one that we did not mention about was the Wyndham Clark
I was
destroying some
just gonna.
lockers.
Oh, I was gonna ask you. You do his trainer. Like, does he have any pictures of his shins or anything? Are his shins okay? Are they cut up? Like, do we?
I mean,
Uh,
fuck. I saw it in 2018 when he was smashing tee boxes and trash cans at the Sony Open. The guy's always been that way, and that's not to say anything bad about Wyndham. I get it. He's an emotional guy. I like him as a person, but again, a poor role model in a place where you are about as privileged as you can possibly be, and it's just ridiculous.
it was too far, obviously, but I also didn't like the fact that that leaked out. That somebody decided, oh, I'm going to take a picture of this and then leak it. I think that's a little bit of a rap move
That's
to
bush
do
league.
that
That's
because
personal.
That's
yeah,
bush league.
that locker room situation, like guys explode all the time. And Brent, I mean, you could probably share stories of guys going absolutely berserk in there, causing damage and so forth. I
Yep.
mean, we saw it with Tom Kim last year when he was over in Korea. And the emotions get to guys. I mean, this is a very difficult sport that does not always reward you And sometimes you lose your cool out there, and sometimes you need to. But that's where, that's why this podcast exists, right? To give everybody kind of that unfiltered
Yeah.
look at this sport, because this stuff does happen and it is more common than you think. And this
It should
getting
have
out is
stayed
a
there.
little bit, I think, Brent, you said it was a little bit personal with whoever took the photo.
Yeah. Well, but yeah,
Because
we all have the same
you
thought about it.
you look at a guy like Graham McDowell, who also on Twitter brought up the fact that, hey, this is our
This ain't
sanctuary.
nothing.
Like,
Correct.
this is whatever
Correct.
happens in the locker room, you leave it in the locker room. You do not let this stuff get out. And with that, that it also happens a lot. And he was talking about, he alluded to a very popular player that has done a lot of damage in locker rooms throughout the years.
Oh, yeah.
So of course he kind of backtracked on everything, saying, I don't condone this. I'm
No.
not saying this is okay. I'm just saying that, it's not right that this leaked out. This is like Vegas, basically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, anytime, we've all played events, and where, either it's the locker room or our car or when we get back to
Clubs.
the hotel room or whatever, there's a moment in which, okay, we got to get something out. And for it to be at the US, there is not another place on the grounds at a US Open that has more security than the locker room. So here's what I can tell you beyond a shadow of a doubt. It was either a player, a coach, or a caddy.
I doubt it was
So,
a player. It was some whiny
regardless.
bitch hole.
Oh, for sure. But regardless, Wyndham, to my knowledge, has about as good of a reputation amongst the players and caddies as anybody I've seen. I haven't heard a single negative story about that guy, and I've heard negative stories about almost everybody. So, the fact that they did that, it's Bush League, as we all have said, and to whoever did that, you might want to look in the mirror, because you definitely don't hold some sort of high ground. That's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
You kind of flip flop there, Brent. You started out the conversation really hating on the act, and
Oh,
I
it's
think
not
you're
right. It's not right. But the neither is the act of
just
taking
giving
the
you a hard
picture
time,
either.
bro.
No, I get it.
Just
But like I
shit.
said, it's one of those things, man. It's near and dear to me, because like I've had moments where I've got to sit there and hold something in, and I let something out, and it's like at the wrong time with the wrong people, and I get my head taken off for it. So. There are too many instances where players have to be these perfect people, and it serves no purpose but
You guys
to make
remember
things worse.
playing junior golf, and like you could always tell who had a temper, even if you never played with them, just by looking at the stand on their golf bag.
100%. How they put
Just
the
that
golf
little
bag down.
bend in that leg. You're
Fucking
like,
bent legs,
yeah.
or
Yeah,
some guys had broken them completely off, and like we're still setting it down on the little micro legs.
Yep.
100%.
I know exactly what you're talking about on that one. That's
100%.
It was
funny.
a go-to, man. You miss a shot, just play it.
I did it this year, and I did it this year at the Sony Open. Shit, I carried a bag like that for 3 months before I got a new one. Fucking, So I get it, and I mean we all have some sort of relationship with Wyndham, whether it be personal or surface level, and none of
We do.
us wish that guy anything but the best.
There you have it. So the Wyndham thing, while we do not condone or say that doing damage to anything is a good thing, obviously it is not.
Don't be no snitch.
Yeah,
That's
don't
way
be a
worse.
rat. Don't be a rat when it comes to that.
Oh,
That was
He's
pretty
gonna find out who
disappointing to see.
told on him too, right?
Oh, he already knows.
Probably, yeah.
He knows. Like I said, I mean, for me, not even being there, like I said, having played, you only have to play one U.S. Open to know who's allowed in that locker. Only one.
I'll say this. So Truck Golfer says he had no stands on his bag, and I was definitely a hothead when I was playing on the mini tours. Man, I got a couple. Being a New Yorker too, playing on the Butch Harmon Vegas tour and the Pepsi tour and so forth. There were a couple warnings that were given out. Hey, keep down the F words. And so,
I saw you toss a lob wedge the other day. I saw it.
Yeah, that good frustration out
You
there.
got to get it out sometimes, but if it's your property, I'm okay with that. Sometimes
It
you just
was
don't.
one of those where you hold the butt of the club and you toss it up.
Yeah, you didn't try to break it.
Wasn't a violent. It was in the moment though, but that to me tells me that it's like, okay, my soul is done being bad. It
It's
wants to be good
passion.
again.
It's
Yeah.
passion.
Because
You
right
didn't.
afterwards, like there's no emotions to it whatsoever, like after it's done, which I feel like that's the way that it has to be. If you're gonna be somebody like that, like a John Rahm or a Terrell Hatton, to where you're known for that, then you got to let it out and just move on immediately thereafter.
They should. I've been saying this for years. They need to come out with a bag that has like an option for a little sandbag on the side that you're not going to break anything, and you can just punch the holy fuck out of this thing if you want to. Like,
To
I
be
don't
like
know.
Tyrrell and give your putter a talking to, give it a little smack and talk to it.
How much?
He also
How much did? Go ahead. Sorry.
he also had a very tense exchange with a media member, Terrell Hatton, that is, when asked about because he goes that he had a bad break,
Mm-hmm.
and the reporter kind of followed up and was like, "Well, what do you mean you got a bad break?" He's like, "What kind of question is that? What are you asking me? I got a bad break." He's like,
Yeah, move
"What are you
on.
talking?" Like he's like, "No, I'm asking you like what was the bad like the bad luck, the bad break?" He's like, "Well, I got into the downslope." He's like of the grass. He's like not into the bunker, and so he was bitching about on 17 that he missed it just to the right. And most of those end up going into the bunker, and his got caught up in the downslope of the rough. So that he believes that that's what lost him the U.S. Open. I
Yeah.
I
found
have a
that to be
question
interesting.
for you.
Yeah.
Uh, is there a chance that the owner of Lab Golf still has a hard on today?
Yes, Sam absolutely does.
After he saw the slow mo putter throw with the Lab perfectly floating through the air after making a 65 footer to win the Open, and that was he didn't pay $1 for that. Like,
Yeah.
is that guy just? He's happy.
I
I'm going to try to
mean,
get him back on the podcast
Sam's the
because
best.
I want to talk to him about, the competitors that are copying and all this stuff
Yes,
that's going on right now. It'd be nice. And especially since Brant has converted to
fully.
being a lab golf guy along with me after all the shit that he gave me about it.
Correct.
I definitely would like to have Sam on and for us to chat with him a little bit about all that.
Absolutely. Yeah, that'd be great. I mean, I would love to talk to him. I've had kind of like a third person conversation with him through the tour rep, but
Yeah.
yeah, very good.
Um, we almost got into the Travelers
Fuck the
preview,
Travelers.
but
Who
then
cares?
Rory's name came up, and we went down a rabbit hole with Rory, and then Wyndham, and obviously leading back all the way to the U.S. Open. But let's just go over the odds for this one for the Travelers Championship. We got a Scotty Scheffler plus 280. That seems like that's been
28
pretty
under.
common for Scotty Scheffler. Rory McIlroy plus 1200. Xander Schauffele plus 1600, Colin Morikawa plus 1800, Patrick Cantlay plus 2200, Ludwig Oberg plus 2500, plus 3000 we got Justin Thomas and Victor Hovland. At plus 3500 we got Keegan Bradley, Sam Burns, Tommy Fleetwood, and Sepp Straka. Plus 4000 Russell Henley and Robert McIntyre. Plus 4,500 Shane Lowry. Plus 5,000 Daniel Berger, Ben Griffin, Aaron Rye, JJ Spaun, Jordan Spieth, Cam Young. Then we got plus 5,500 Siwoo Kim, Maverick McNeely. Plus 6,000 Hideki Matsui.
Yeah.
I love that. That's my favorite thing right there. Adam Scott is also there, plus 6,000. Plus 6,500, we got Sungjae Im, Taylor Pendrith. Plus 7,000, Akshay Bhatia, the brown praying mantis. Jason Day, Tony Finau, Harris English. Plus 7,500 for JT Poston. Plus 8,000 for Mackenzie Hughes. Plus 9,000 for Wyndham. Matt, don't call him Matthew Fitzpatrick. Ricky Fowler, Brian Harmon, Max Grazerman, aka Timu Rory, Tom Kim, Min Woo Lee, let the man cook. Plus 10,000, we got Luke Clayton, Bud Colley, Harry Hall, Danny McCarthy, Nick Taylor, Davis Thompson, Ryan Fox.
Ryan Fox said, really?
You know what I would do real quick if I was Wyndham this week?
When?
I would set up a fake locker in the locker room and I would absolutely do a locker bashing tutorial in slow-mo that I would put out
He might
on
do
my
that.
social media, like showing the angles and how you have to approach it not to injure yourself. And
That would
That'd be
be so
genius.
great because
oh,
you
yeah.
just you own it at that point, right? You're just like, yeah, dude, I'm gonna make the best of this
Like
rather
McEnroe, you
than
said it last week,
yeah,
like J Mac, like yeah, yeah, I'm the locker guy now. Watch
yeah.
out, no locker is safe.
I could totally see like a Instagram reel where it's like, and this is how you strike. just just mocking the entire
Bow to your
situation,
Just a
which
sensei.
would be
slow
great.
mo
Yeah.
like side sweep kick, like with a wearing a gi.
That would be
Be
hilarious.
amazing.
Love that. Butsy, let's start with you. Who you got this week?
I'm just gonna be a good betting man here and say that Scotty Scheffler is probably gonna show back up and win again.
Put him back on an easy golf course, and all of a sudden Scotty shows
Yeah,
back
Easy is
up.
right. Holy
yeah.
shit, that golf
And
course
highly
is
addicted to winning. Doesn't like what happened this week and how it
by
went
how many?
down. Uh,
4?
3.
3? Okay,
Okay.
that's fair.
Brent, what about you, buddy?
I think Foxy gets it done this week.
Ooh.
Ryan Fox. Okay.
I'm not really
Wow.
sure why his odds are the way they are. He's won twice this year.
Interesting. I am going to go with none other than Denny McCarthy.
Oh,
First win ever, huh?
Yep. Travelers. I
that
think
would be cool.
Denny's been, I don't know, man. Denny, he's overdue. He is well overdue.
4 years overdue.
I want to see him finally on a Sunday near the lead and actually plays well and doesn't fade at the end.
It doesn't chunk wedges into the water. Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, pretty much. So
It's such an easy golf course. Everybody's I mean, not really sure why it's a elevated event, but whatever.
well, it's in the New York metro area, right? So they want all the big names to be there because they're going to make a shit ton of money off of this golf tournament.
Yes.
So that's the main reason. All right, so we got our picks. Let's talk about this new PGA Tour CEO,
Ugh.
Mr. Rolap. So this guy comes from the NFL and the media and business arm
Saw
of
that.
it. So he's been talking a lot about today, especially that, as Monahan stays on through the end of next year. So Monahan's contract is up in December of 2026. And that being said, they're going to work together on this stuff, but everything is being directed to Rolap. So good old Rolap, Mr. Rolap. We've got Rolap. He is looking to really maximize, the media side to the business, which I think is long overdue. I do think that, as Brent has complained a lot about the PGA Tour and their media rights and so forth, and the fact that they haven't really utilized them as well as they probably should have, knowing they have so much control over all of it. Brent, is this a positive thing that we're moving out of the Monahan era and into the Rolap era?
Yes
It's gotta be-
and no.
gotta be a
So
yes.
here's the thing. So Jay came from the same sort of background in that. So like the what's the company? The Boston. Anyway, what it doesn't matter. Some
Sports
Boston,
group?
Yeah, the Boston Sports Group came from
Or the
that
Fenway
same,
Group?
Yeah, there you go, Fenway. So kind of same sort of background. The thing that I would love to see this gentleman do is kind of, like you said, actually use their control to its fullest extent. Do I believe that he's capable of doing it all by himself? No, because I think that there are enough money people involved that are still of the old guard, still trying to find the next Tiger Woods, and to change the entire outlook is going to take a lot of money. And the big problem with that is they've already allocated most of it to the top players, and that's gonna have to change in order for anything to actually affect the tour as a whole. And as our illustrious Roy McIlroy said, The player's responsibility is to look out for numero uno and maybe help out the tour in the end. So until they change the makeup of the board, which I believe is still 6-4 in favor of the players, the CEO is nothing but a figurehead. I would love to be wrong, but as we have seen in the last year, it does absolutely nothing for me and any other player to worry about what's going on. So just
Interesting
play
there,
good.
Brent. Not feeling super positive about it. Butsy, I mean, what's your take on this whole entire ordeal?
Uh, just digging into a little bit about the guy, I think he brings what the PGA Tour has been lacking for like 10 years, and that's that media side. They've called him a visionary for what he's been able to do at the NFL, especially when it comes to marketing and marketing players and hyping the league and working with the right entities to make it better than it's ever been. And yeah, I think there's something exciting to that he brings to the table that Monahan just wasn't able to squeeze out of the product.
It'll be interesting. Austin Whittington says less draconian with the media rights, and he's asking that as a question. I don't know. I mean, time will tell, right? I don't know if it's going to be less draconian. I think it's going to be more utilizing those media rights in order to
Yeah,
promote and to bring up the whole rather than just a couple big names. Now, granted, you're still going to have the faces of the PGA Tour. They're still going to be promoted the most, but I think with how the NFL has so many guys that they have to promote, that I think that will play into what he's capable of doing for the PGA Tour, which we all know. We've been bitching about it for years at this point on this podcast about the fact that there's not a lot of promotion that goes in around players. And Brent can attest to exactly that. To where even when he made it on, they're like, oh, yeah, we're going to do all this stuff for you. And then nothing happened.
it,
So
if you're in the top like 75 or whatever, there should be something written into your contract, even if they own your media rights, that like 3 times a month, you're going to go out with a camera person and they're going to help build out your YouTube channel that the PGA Tour has rights to. I mean, at least build individual players up and use all the channels that everybody else is using. It's crazy. So this guy might see that, and I don't know. That could be huge.
I think you guys are spot on. I think what is kind of looming that nobody seems to be touching on just yet is how much the PGA Tour University is going to have a huge boom, and how much of the marketing budget is going to be focused on that. They have already made it pretty clear that they're trying to put the PGA Tour University between the PGA Tour and the Korn Ferry Tour. And
interesting.
even though Korn Ferry Tour graduates continue to win, and actually that number continues to go up over the last 5 years, they seem to not really care about that because the NIL, the sponsors, the OEMs, the manufacturers, the agencies for that matter, all have a massive vested interest in college players. They don't have a massive vested interest in the 101 player on the PGA Tour or even the 50th player on the PGA Tour. So, I mean, you see that with the fact that nobody's getting paid in clothes. Even YouTube pages are being, looked at and scrutinized to the point that guys are getting suspended for trying to grow the audience even more. But, I mean, it's gotten to a point where you're really not going to see. Yeah. Well, so Trotty, what's incredible about that is that if it were up to them, they would not allow a guy like JJ Spaun to be on the PGA Tour. And unfortunately, they're going to look at his career and go, yeah, it's great, and we're going to use him for what he's got. But the moment that he stops playing well, JJ Spaun doesn't exist.
It'll be
Right.
interesting to see. I mean, I'm looking forward to, and I'm going to keep a positive outlook on this one because you got to give somebody their due diligence in terms of taking over a new gig and hopefully makes an impact and does it in short order, right? Because he also has stated that he's coming into the negotiations with LIV with a clean slate. He's going to listen first. He's going to, you know, hopefully make something happen there. You never know, but he also mentioned that he's not going to change anything without listening first to the framework and the structure that they had and were looking to get done. So, that being said, there is that as an outlier. He's also, as we talked about media rights, he's also looking to finalize the 2026 through 2034 global rights package. So he wants to grow the international swing in Asia and the Middle East. He wants to do that with non-conflicting dates, and he wants to expand the signature events model to the women's game via an LPGA partnership, whatever the hell that means. So I'm not even quite sure.
That sounds dumb.
I mean, what more proof do we need that he doesn't really care about more than half of the tour, and he certainly doesn't care about where the tour gets its players from. I mean, it just, the fact is that these guys come from an elitist mindset, and they're not going to allow anything to change that. I mean, we've seen it, but at the end of the day, is it really going to make the difference between, you know, a guy that you know is 60th? No, but it does make a difference between a guy that's 105, which
I don't know. We're gonna see. I mean, this
who's
is
that? Who knows?
again, it's gonna be interesting to see
Yeah.
if he's a guy that brings up the little guys and promotes them and makes them bigger names and takes a guy like JJ Spaun who just had his shining moment and puts some resources behind him to really build him up. I mean, I remember with the UFC, Nate Diaz was the name that comes to mind, and before he beat Conor McGregor, the casual fan didn't really know Nate Diaz, but the MMA crowd knew who he was, loved him, and wanted to see him get promotion. And he bitched about it for the longest time. And then he finally beats Conor McGregor in a event that basically they weren't supposed to fight in the first place. And sure enough, he ends up becoming this massive name. So let's see if some of these things can be done, because realistically, with the right resources and the right promotion, you could take somebody like JJ Spawn. Like, why wasn't JJ Spawn all of a sudden America's darling with the US Open win? Why wasn't he better promoted?
This
And
is what
why
I'm.
weren't these stories like front and center?
It doesn't seem like it should be that hard to do, man. Like, hire somebody that's in reality TV. Fucking interview everybody on tour. Make a list of the ones that are the most promising from a personality perspective, and then promote the living shit out of them, whether they play good or not. Because people that consume golf now obviously don't care how well you hit the golf ball. So it's a premium if you happen to be on tour and you're like really fun to watch. Now I'm talking off, like outside of PGA Tour coverage, obviously, like the YouTube and every other channel that they could get this guy in a chair to say something funny in, right, on film. So I don't know. It doesn't seem like it should be that hard.
It's
Really
not.
doesn't.
It's not, and I just sort of alluded to it in the chat to talking to these guys, but
You didn't allude to it.
I did, but
I
it's
don't think so.
it just assumes that we have an unlimited budget on the PGA Tour, and we don't. You look at the fact that they've decreased the amount of cards, decreased the size of field. Eventually, they're going to decrease the amount of tournaments. They're limiting opportunities because they have somebody that's paying the bills that is saying, "Listen, this thing doesn't work anymore." And you're not going to get sponsors that just want to continue to put out more and more and more money because they don't have it. And I'm sorry, you're not making 20 million running a golf tournament. It's not happening. But
There you have it.
you are making the money by having, you know, enough time where you can get all your clients out there and hopefully build business forward. But that doesn't
Well,
have
as you're
anything to do
talking
with the
about the
players.
money side to it, Brent, it's interesting because one of the topics that came up is where's the $1.5 billion from the Strategic Sports Group and that investment, which is largely unspent. And Roulette promised that he's going to have a capital deployment roadmap by the time we get to the FedEx Cup playoffs, which means all the players that got equity in the PGA Tour going to start to get some payouts. Brent doesn't like it.
Sorry, the sound of freedom is going up above my head. But
That's
here's the deal: the people who got the so-called equity.
Qatar Airways.
No, that's F-35s. But the people that got the equity, people like a Robert Streb, for example, over a guy like, or here's my favorite. David Lipsky got equity over Russell Knox. Does that make any sense? David
Not
Lipsky.
really.
David Lipsky has never won on the PGA Tour.
I'm sure there was some formula that they
I'm sure.
used.
Absolutely. It actually all had to do with who kept their card after 2023. But at the end of the day, they made it sound as though it was about the players who were building the tour. And the simple fact of the matter is that it could not be about that, because then you would be looking at players all the way back to the 1970s. And so, it's just, regardless, I mean, this conversation is so about what this guy is going to do. Is hopefully he turns it all around, but the simple fact of the matter is that the players still have control.
We know you mad. We know
Yeah,
you
he's
mad.
not happy. He could go on for hours
I'm not
with this.
enthused. I'm
The
not
last
enthused.
thing that I will mention,
Stay consistent.
yeah, the last thing I will mention about this is that he was in a short list of guys that were going to potentially replace Roger Goodell. So for him jumping ship and coming over to the PGA Tour, that goes to show you that there's some unique equity upside here that he decided was worth it to move from the NFL over to the PGA Tour. So again, that's going to be an interesting one that we're going to see in time to come. It is not something we're going to know today, and it will happen over a period of time. So we'll be on the lookout for all of that. But we do want to thank our sponsors once again, Devereaux Golf, folks. DEVEREUX golf.com. Utilize the promo code pullhookgolf20 at checkout for 20% off your entire order at devereauxgolf.com. At Vice Golf, utilize the promo code pullhook. Get 15% off your golf balls today at vicegolf.com. And then finally, folks, our brand new sponsor, bringing you a hot promo code. This one will make Brent happy. Rockform, ROKFORM.
Get rocked out.
Get yourself a case. And I just realized too that in doing this deal with them, my dad had been talking a lot about them, and I never put two and two together. But he's got the case. He absolutely loves it. He's got the in the car, he's got the magnet case and everything in there as well that it attaches to. So he's all rock formed out. But utilize the promo code pullhook 2025, all one word, for 20% off over at rockform.com. Trot, I know you need a new speaker or another one to get that surround sound. So go ahead and get that done with the promo code. It is live now. So we're excited about that. And I can't wait to get my gear in studio as well. But without further ado, folks, we do appreciate all of you for listening in. Butsy, Brent, thank you guys so much. And until next week, folks, and next week should be pretty special. I'll leak some details about that as we move into next week. But sayonara, everybody. Peace out. A-Town down.